pushing woke, pushing DEI, pushing discrimination, pushing censorship online. You talk about being free. Well, excuse me, but do I have freedom to offer my opinion here? Or am I going to get silenced, shadow banned, demonetized, debanked? If you're in the UK, you're going to get arrested. I mean, like, if we're not going to push the boundaries and test this thing, we're going to lose it. It'll be like a muscle that atrophies. The First Amendment's only as good as the most fucked up shit you can say the next time. And hence the reason why I reached in the back of that crayon box and used the word fucked up shit. It's a little jarring. It's a little, I don't know. That was a little past my sensitivities. Well, that's what humor is supposed to be. It's okay. Not all of it's for everyone. And by the way, I'm not sure if you're aware, John, did I mention that I've been doing stand-up comedy this year?
I saw you post about that, which I think is a new thing for you, right? Doing stand-up?
Since the Super Bowl. So like January or the 2 weeks leading up to the Super Bowl in early February, taking a few weeks off now. But yeah, for like most of this year, it's been every week going to the comedy club and performing, and there's a lot to learn. Like you and I, we do long form podcasts. We expand on our thoughts and we really drill down on what's going on, offering different perspectives. For like open mic comedy, you got 4 minutes. Go. And don't burn the light. That's a problem with me. Like when that light's off, you're supposed to be done. Wrap it up button. Like the Dave Chappelle show. Wrap it up.
Yeah. And with comedy, more so than really anything else, is you have to be so comfortable. And I have never done stand-up comedy. This is just an observation. I have so much respect for people like yourself and Brian McWilliams, Lou Perez, who do it all the time. But you got to know that you're going to fail sometimes. Sometimes when you're working your material out, not everything's going to work. You know that you're going to say stuff that's just like, people are like, what? That was bad. But you got to be comfortable with it. So it makes you uncomfortable. So just inherently, by doing that stuff, by doing stand-up comedy, you're gonna grow as a person.
Yeah, I've always wanted to do it. It was during the height of, I'm trying to remember what year, maybe 2015, 2016, 2017, like the early Trump years. And I was in Los Angeles, and somebody in my building, her boyfriend was a promoter right there on MLK, where I would watch my football games at the Buffalo Wild Wings. By the way, football season is like kicking off. So the Shadur Sanders era begins today for the Cleveland Browns. I'm super excited to see that crash and burn.
Wait, let's just pause everything here.
I know I got a lot of tangential.
We just mentioned the Cleveland Browns. Before we do that, I got some comments to get to here from Kenneth B2. Does the shadow band only play at night?
Clever wordplay. Yes, like Kenneth that. Came over. Kenneth is one of our.
All right.
I say that I'm a bartender on my show. I do the TNAM Daily Show every day, Monday through Saturday at noon Eastern time. Kenneth is one of our regulars and a supporter of the program and the New American Media. And I told everybody during today's show, come on over to Lions of Liberty, subscribe, jump in the comments. Let's have a good time. Yeah, the Shadow Band only plays it.
Yeah, appreciate that. And then another one. I know this is like an inside joke for you not knowing about podcasts, but podcast heals pods.
Yeah, that is our running joke, though. Yeah. If you want to tell people our running joke about podcasts.
Yeah, well, I mean,
I probably about a decade and a half, right?
Yeah, before I went on any media, I went on your, I guess it was internet radio at the time, we called it, right?
And it was also put instantly on YouTube and Facebook or X or Twitter, whatever.
So you were a pioneer in that space, right? You had the website, the New American Media. You were making moves. That partially definitely inspired, I think, Mark and myself to start our Lions of Liberty, to start our podcast, and somehow along all this time, you're doing all this media, you had never put it in podcast form. You'd never made it available on Apple Podcasts, or Spotify didn't exist back then, but there was Stitcher and whatever else, and you would just say, I don't know what a podcast is. So
what is a podcast?
You're just a YouTube guy,
What is a podcast? I don't know. What is and it just every time, hey, our podcast. What is a podcast? What is a podcast? Yeah, it was an extra. What did Mitch Hedberg say? I like bread. I like fancy bread. I like bread that's so fancy you open it up and it still ain't open. I do not need that from Pepperidge Farm. I do not need another step between me and toast. So, I do not need another step between me creating content and distributing it. It's already out there. It's done. Don't make me upload it to yet another site. It's like every day another app is open I wish
Well,
there was an easier, more, and some of these streaming services like StreamYard help you just click and automatically stream it to most of them at once. It's better than it used to be, but yeah. I mean, I was struggling through internet radio and the old versions of YouTube, and prior to having Rumble as a backup, and prior to having Truth Social as a backup to X, and having Telegram and Signal as a backup to Facebook. It's the media landscape is so different now in so far as that we have options because the market needed to develop them. When Google, YouTube, when Facebook, Instagram, Meta started silencing, demonetizing, shadow banning, not shadow banned, shadow banning the content. So it's like, all right, fine, screw you guys, I'm going home. It's like, I'm going to take my ball and go to Rumble. I'll put my stuff on Odyssey. I'll put my stuff on my own podcast. And I guess, for the most part, they mostly let you put your podcast up. I guess there's still some censorship on those platforms as well. But yeah, it goes back for a long time. I never downloaded a podcast. So I'd always ask, what's a podcast? Everything's on YouTube. Well, why are people? Yeah. And in hindsight, I should have been building on the podcast because Google is a trash company that ruined YouTube. Censored me, demonetized me, and took away my ability to create the new American media as one of the standard bearers of the past 14 years. Instead, they don't let people see our content. They don't let any of our videos get more than 150 views. Those interviews with John B. Wells would be in the 50,000, 100,000, easy. Every time we would do something, it was in the tens of thousands. Now it's like they go to, what do they call them? Not quantitative, I'm forgetting the terminology. They give it to qualified sources or predetermined. It's the fake news. Lying legacy media, ABC, CBS, NBC, Fox occasionally. I mean, they moved it away from where our videos used to get recommended on the side of the screen, and now they don't. They just want it to go to authoritative sources. That's what they said. They said, we have to have Coca-Cola and Chevy trucks only advertising on real news, like CNBC, MSNBC, and CNN, right? And I'm like, oh, all the fake news.
Yeah. So that's because they can safely advertise on them, right, with their pharmaceutical ads and all that good stuff. Kenneth chimes in again and says a podcast is the stars of a science fiction movie. You're just rolling today, Kenneth. I love it.
Kenneth has actually collaborated with me. Yes, the pod who were cast in those roles. He's a wordsmith. Kenneth is always trying to punch things up. And I've talked about turning the TNAM Daily Show or the Agree to Disagree show or a version of it or doing something different as just a straight comedy show. If Colbert hasn't been funny in 10 years, Jimmy Kimmel hasn't been funny in 10 years since they took their corporate money to just get Trump derangement syndrome and lose their sense of humor. So I think Gutfeld succeeding is sort of it's a canary in the coal mine. There's a thirst for humor as long as you're not a far left lunatic, like for the common sense, conservative, libertarian leaning, constitutionalist. I don't know what you call just a normal person these days, but not a woke left progressive who's trying to destroy the world around them and replace them with nothing because they don't have any better ideas.
Yeah, and I think that's one thing we're trying to do with our new show, Politics, with tick spelled like the blood-sucking insect.
Oh, Kenneth would love that. Politics. Yeah. Oh, that's perfect. Yeah.
So we have that show every other Friday. So not today, but next Friday, you can tune back into Lions of Liberty to hear Politics with myself, Brian McWilliams, Lou Perez, and Brian Nichols digging through all of the slimy scum of the political world and adding some comedy and some levity to it into your weekend. But before we move on, I do want to talk about Trump and what he's done with allegedly a secret. He is a secret memo or a secret executive order to use the military against drug cartels. Before we get to that, Cleveland Browns, circle back here. How many quarterbacks now are on the Cleveland Browns roster? Is it like 7, 8?
Not enough. Is that fair? Can I just say not enough?
Look, are they trying to get all the quarterbacks so other teams can't have quarterbacks, or what's well,
it's like look, if you can't get $1, you might as well have 10 tens, 10 dimes, right? 10 cents. Who was it? It was Shane Gillis. He hosted the ESPYs the other day, and oh god, one of my favorite jokes. It was so good. He says, Caitlin Clark. Hey, everybody give it up for Caitlin Clark. Yeah. making a lot of moves out there in the WNBA. Caitlin Clark and I have a lot in common. We're both whites from the Midwest who have nailed a bunch of threes. God, that's such a well-constructed joke.
Yeah,
right there.
that's very good.
But it's thinking of a bunch of threes. I'm thinking of, well, if we can't have a quarterback that's 100 on Madden, what if we have 10 quarterbacks that are a 10? Surely we'll win that way, right? No, they say when you have 2 quarterbacks, you have none. But the situation in Cleveland is this. We brought back an old man, Joe Flacco. He's good. He's better than I gave him credit for when he was in Baltimore. He's older. He may be injury prone, this, that, and the other, but I think Jerry Jeudy's a legitimate wide receiver. I think we watched both Amari Cooper and Jerry Jeudy shine under Jameis Winston and Joe Flacco over the past couple of years. The Deshaun Watson experiment has been an absolute abject failure. I'm team Baker Mayfield. We should have signed him and kept him.
Yeah, absolutely should have. In hindsight, it's easy to say that, but
yes. However, please go to the Unhappy Hour Sports Show, a support group. It's a private group on Facebook. Join it. Have fun. And I dare anyone to ask, how does Brian feel about Baker Mayfield? It is a running gag because I have been so irate about what they did to jettison him away from Cleveland, and the fans in the groups that tried to tell me Baker's trash. Oh, he's no good. And I'm like, guys, I've seen everything I need to see. He is a legitimate quarterback. He is a very good quarterback that could lead us to a Super Bowl. And I've been fully vindicated. And there are still people that will argue with me that Baker was trash. He was mediocre at best. So look, we're in a bit of a mess. We drafted 2 quarterbacks, Dylan Gabriel. His like a 3 or 4 year starter at Oregon. That's a high octane program over there, but he's 5 foot nothing. He's a midget. He's a top. Oh, can you say that word? He's a little dude. He's having a hard time seeing over the line, and he's not looking good so far. But look, he's a young developmental player with some skills. Let's see how it plays out. We took him in the 3rd round, but then 2 rounds later, Shedeur Sanders was still there. And so we traded a side draft pick and said, let's move up and grab him. So we got 2 quarterbacks. So what? The Washington Redskins, can we say that anymore? They drafted Robert Griffin III and Kirk Cousins. Well, RG3 got injured and Kirk Cousins is still playing. He's on that quarterback show on Netflix. So we have 2 project quarterbacks. We have 1 veteran. We brought in your guy, Kenny Pickett, to sit there somewhere on the depth chart.
Baby hands Kenny.
Hey, a lot of people say I have small hands too. Trump and Kenny Pickett, famously small-handed, but they're maybe looking about a Baker Mayfield or a Sam Darnold reclamation project, thinking you might get someone on their second go around or, second or third team. So they're just seeing what they have. The rumors are that we're waiting to get Arch Manning out of Texas, who may or may not even come out next year. Who knows? But it's always a fun time in Cleveland. We let Nick Chubb, the heart and soul of our team, go to Houston for $2.5 million instead of re-signing him after that horrific injury. And then our draft pick, Quinshon Judkins from Ohio State, he's arrested for domestic assault and, innocent unless proven guilty. But, we could have had Nick Chubb on our roster ready to go fresh out of his surgery. So I don't know, man. Hope springs eternal in the mind of a Cleveland Browns fan. But I will say drafting Mason Graham at the defensive tackle position to team up with Myles Garrett. Oh, my God, that is going to help the linebackers and the defensive backs and that defense. We are about ready to wreck a lot of teams on that defensive front this year in a way that I don't know that we've seen in the league, with a defensive tackle and end with at that caliber, Myles Garrett at the peak and Mason Graham coming in as a fresh rookie. So I'm super excited. You're an Eagles fan? Is that what it is?
No, I'm a Steelers fan, man, not an Eagles fan.
I'm sorry. Mick Williams is a Steeler fan. I was
McWilliams is an Eagles fan. I'm a Steelers fan.
He's the Eagles fan. You, of course, are the Steeler fan. I was rooting for Will Howard. What happened? He hurt his hand or something?
I don't know. He's been having a great training camp. I'm not sure if he hit his hand on a helmet or what happened, but he broke one of his fingers. So he's out for a couple of weeks here, which is unfortunate because he was going to play pretty much the entire preseason. So that's a shame that he won't get those reps. But I like that pick a lot for the Steelers, getting him in the 6th round.
Oh my gosh.
A lot of people forget about. We had a great year at Ohio State last year. Before that, at K-State, the dude can run. Like, he didn't run much last year for Ohio State. He can move around the pocket. He can run. He can throw. So he's like a smaller Ben Roethlisberger with not as good of an arm, but much faster.
6'4", 235.
Yeah, I mean, a little bit smaller than Ben. A little smaller than Ben, probably.
Well, I mean, Big Ben got really big bloated body for a while.
Ben went with the off-season plan of no movement, no weights, and just the couch. That was what
so he fractured his pinky finger on his throwing hand in a training camp practice August 5. He's week to week, recovery timeline approximately 3 to 4 weeks, ruling him out for the entire preseason theoretically. Sits behind old man Aaron Rodgers, and Mason, I'm going to charge Myles Garrett helmetless.
Well, that was, but we're getting way off. Way off. Topic.
You're the one that brought up the Cleveland Browns, and by the way, look,
we got to start. We're 20 minutes in. We got to start the show, right? Time to start the show.
I do the Unhappy Hour Sports Show, so there's a reason.
There you go. Unhappy Hour Sports. Check out Unhappy Hour Sports. Yes. What is that? How many days a week is that?
The Unhappy Hour Sports Show. You know what? I've been so focused on saving our country. I've been so focused on just trying to grab the steering wheel before we go over the cliff. My sports content has been sporadic at best, but when it's NFL football season, it's weekly. It'll probably be Monday. And I also do a show with Mike Barra. I'm not sure if you know that guy, but he's on Ancient Aliens and all those types of shows. He does lecturing, but he and I do a show called Strictly Football once a week. Trying to lock in exactly which time and date, but it lives on YouTube and Rumble. Just find the New American Media, but Strictly Football and the Unhappy Hour Sports Show content coming up. But you're the one, remember, who brought up the Cleveland Browns.
I did. That's my fault.
All day, my friend. I love it.
I couldn't.
It's my distraction from the horrors of the world. You can either laugh or cry.
I think we got another one of yours straggling into the comments here. Lake Leon says howdy. So welcome. Great to have you here.
This is John Boy down in Texas. What's up, Lake Leon? And that's what I'm saying. Like, the people who hang out on the TNAM Daily Show, like, they are the regulars. I'm the bartender. They're the regulars. And we just unpack what's on the TVs behind me every day. And
you're just over serving the news. Over serving the news.
Oh, that's a good way to put it. Over serving the news. I'm going to work with that phraseology.
There you go. All right, let's talk about Trump. So it came out today that he has reportedly signed a military directive to begin using military force against Latin American drug cartels. So if you remember, he actually said he was going to do this in his policy when he was running for president. Vivek talked a lot about it when Vivek, like cake, was running for president. So this isn't something new per se. I have some major concerns with it, but before I spout off, what are your thoughts on it, Brian?
I mean, where do we want to start? You can't look at the situation in America without realizing we do have a bit of a problem. Houston, we have a problem. I think on one side, you could definitely say that the over-policing of the drug situation from back in the Just Say No days of Ronnie and Nancy Reagan, might have gone overboard in some of the 3 strikes you're out, or the sentencing policies that Joe Biden's really, again, you have this much crack, you can blah, 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 and then his son's all over getting covered by 51 former intelligence officials lying about the Hunter Biden laptop having all the classic earmarks of Russian disinformation. He's rocking through more crack than anyone's ever seen in their lifetimes. So it is all hypocritical.
But the crack is clean. Crack is cleaner than alcohol, as Hunter Biden has pointed out in recent interviews.
That was astonishing. It's like, please get him his own show. Please wind him up to talk 60 minutes.
Why wasn't he the press secretary? What was Joe Biden doing? Come on, that would have been gold.
Oh, my God. Yeah. So you have that. Geez, where's I going with the Hunter Biden part with the 51 intelligence?
Hunter Biden, crack.
Right before the crack part. Look, I generally have libertarian leaning stances on consumption. You want to have a sip, you want to have a toke, you want to do your thing. I'm fairly libertarian. If you're not harming somebody else, what point what am I supposed to care? What did Thomas Jefferson say? If it neither picks my leg nor breaks my if it neither breaks my leg nor picks my pocket, what do I care? Just a fairly libertarian stance. But there's a problem. There's a huge drug problem with the zombies, the brain dead zombies, in our great American cities and really a lot of places. It's invaded all over, and you can't ignore the CIA deep state drug running profit centers that have been at the center of this problem from day one. I'm not sure how you unscramble those eggs. So there's a lot to unpack, but we have a major problem. And it's not so much just about people, catching their buzz or helping themselves focus on a microdose or a toke, or so they take the edge off with a glass of wine. Everybody's got their thing. That's fine. I don't really care about that. But when the stuff coming in is killing our citizens with fentanyl, that's a problem. And I think if you just watch Breaking Bad or, Brian, that's a show. That's not that's not real life. I know. But the narco cartels have gone roughshod. They have been just tearing apart our American communities and messing with, just go to any downtown, whether it's San Francisco, Los Angeles, or your local, whatever. And you got guys, girls slunched over, they're high as we've got a problem with drug abuse in this country. And so reining some of that in makes a hell of a lot of sense to me. And I think if at your southern border, Mexico is essentially being governed by narco cartels and not even a legitimate government, as some claim, Houston, we got a problem, literally in Houston, because of the Mexico cartels. So I have thoughts. I have a lot of thoughts. There's a lot to unpack.
And we could do a whole show on this, but we're not gonna dive deep because this is a light show. We like to keep it light. But like you, my show previous to Finding Freedom, which is my show every Monday, was Felony Friday, where I shined a light on the broken criminal justice system, most having to do with victimless drug crimes. So, I still have those same feelings. I think people should be allowed to, make those mistakes. I don't really condone people using drugs. I don't think they should be. But I think most of the time the government coming in and, adding more laws never really helps anything. And with that being said, though, there is a major problem in U.S. cities. It's kind of interesting. Most of the cities happen to have blue mayors in place and blue city councils, and they're not doing anything to create areas that really build up with commerce and stronger economies. You're getting desolate cities with, skyscrapers that have nobody working in them and people who are drugged out on the streets. So it's a complicated problem. But to get into Trump, what worries me about Trump going after the drug cartel specifically, you can say, sure, they're a terrorist organization. We're targeted a cartel in Mexico. Well, guess what? That cartel has soldiers on the streets in many major U.S. cities. And what concerns me about that is you start targeting them in Mexico. What happens in these U.S. cities with these cartel members? Are there kidnappings? Do people disappear? Do things start exploding? I have no idea. That's my major concern when I look at this from like a risk mitigation strategy. So how do you address this problem, reduce the obvious drug problem in our cities, the walking zombies, without lighting the cities on fire? That's my concern.
All right. Well, a lot to unpack there. Yes, the people who are strung out need to get some help. We need to find a legal framework to get these people some help. What these organizations have done supposedly to benefit people and protect civil liberties has also led to this. What's that?
Nukem. That's what Lake Leon says. Nukem.
Nukem. Yes. Look, it's led to big problems. I think we need to bring back some of these major treatment centers, and the people that are. I think 95% of the problems are usually caused by about 5% of the people. Math might be a little off, but once you start bringing these people to treatment centers, arresting the ones that are committing crimes, getting them into treatment,
insane asylums, bringing those back. I think Trump signed something about that recently as well.
Yeah. Although the insane asylums, they're jettisoning their own dead weight. You see Stephen Colbert leaving. You see rumors of The View, but I think that was rumors of their demise were a little bit premature. But you're seeing Howard Stern leaving. We think Jimmy Kimmel might be next. Ear to the train track, rumblings down the road. But look, as far as what you said there, I think you had a great point. I put my finger up. I'm like, no, Brian, don't interrupt. Be a good guest. Be a good guest. That's hard for me the way that I'm wired because I just want to speak and blurt, but I try to jot notes down. I think the United States has been invaded in a hostile maneuver. I think so. Yeah. I think the Obama doctrine for 16 plus years, because he's part orchestrator, part mastermind, and part just figurehead schlub. I don't know how you can be all three at once, but he's played different versions of that. This was the exact same thing the Democrat deep state, and I put the Democrat deep state together. Obviously, Republicans are a part of it, but it's the Democrat deep state pushing their agenda. This has been another example of the Democrat deep state accusing others and complaining about what other people have done while they're doing the exact same thing, except worse. So what I see globally with whether it's Soros, I call it the Obama doctrine. This has been a coordinated campaign for the better half of a decade and a half or more of colonization, the forced colonization of sovereign nations globally.
Yeah.
From parts unknown. These are mostly military-aged men. Oh, that's so racist. You just don't like them because they're from where? Because they're from everywhere. Yeah. I don't want them from anywhere. Zero places. Zero places. I want a full screening system. I want a bouncer checking IDs and looking through your criminal background. Oh, you touched a kid once in your life? Deuces. Your kind aren't welcome here, pal. Go to Australia where we dump all the other criminals. But I think there's a situation where America has been invaded. Look at Europe, Spain, Italy, Germany, Switzerland. Seriously, go through every country in the EU. They've been invaded. And now little communities are being overtaken. Some of those are Islamo-fascists. Some of those are, there's different sects, different reason, but military-aged men from China. We have Chinese sleeper cells pre-positioned across America, waiting for the go, waiting for the signal, waiting to who knows what, because we didn't check them. We have no idea what ties they have to the CCP. We have no idea the radical Islamists that came in from the Middle East and Northern Africa. No idea the fundamentals from either Russia or Ukraine with an axe to grind over the U.S. funding all of that action over there for 2 years because of Victoria Nuland, Barack Hussein Obama, and Joe Biden since 2014 when we, the United States, overthrew Yanukovych and propped up a comedian puppet in Vladimir Zelensky. They're not to mention our funding of what's going on in Israel and in Palestine with that war effort. The United States is like in a battle royal with everybody at once, not to mention renegotiating every single trade deal on earth. Everything is up for grabs at this point. So I think what you have is the forced colonization that the Democrats, the lying legacy media, the teachers unions, they all push this sob story. Oh, white people are bad. Oh, Europeans are bad. Oh, Christians are bad. Oh, it's colonization. Oh, okay. Well, that's literally what they're doing with the NGOs and Soros and their funding. This isn't a migration crisis. This is a plan to overthrow the citizens of the sovereign nations to install enclaves and change the demographic of that nation forever. The quote that you hear is, "We'll outbirth you." And it is an invasion with a plan. So the fact that you're calling attention to, holy shit, there might be some bad guys from Venezuela. Well, no shit. Didn't they overtake they overtook what was that in Colorado? They took over
an apartment complex. They took over an apartment complex. Yeah.
They're trying to invade complex by complex, enclave by enclave. Springfield, Ohio. They're eating the dogs. They're doing it in Minneapolis, taking over from the Ilhan Omar crew, just trying to change America's, the fabric of America. Oh, you're probably just a white supremacist. No, I'm pro-America, and you don't get more America by reducing assimilation. This isn't go into your little corner, set up your little worship center. You're going to have this little mini city within a city, and you're just going to do your own thing. No, how about you learn English? How about you assimilate? How about you go through the criminal background check? How about we make sure you're not taking public funds and you're contributing to society? And if you want a pathway to citizenship, we allow for it. Otherwise, what are you doing here? And we have every right to escort the people that snuck in right back out. We're running a movie theater. Yet someone propped the door. I don't care who propped the door. Show me your ticket. You don't have a ticket? Get out. You can also walk to the front and buy a ticket, and we're going to check your ID. There's age restrictions. Can't go into a bar without proving you're 21, or else your insurance would be yanked and your liquor license would be yanked. I expect that minimum from my government, from the people that come in here, minimum of a check to find out who are you and what are you intending to do here, instead of opening the floodgates so sleeper cells can be pre-positioned everywhere. So you've touched on a massively important point. Oh no, what if the Venezuelans get mad? Well, yeah, no shit. Oh no, what if we've been invaded and we have no idea who's sitting in our country? It's time we deal with it, because the Band-Aid is covering up an infected wound. Putting the Band-Aid on doesn't stop the gangrene from happening. You got to open the wound, go through the scab, clean it out. You have to really take antibiotics, put the triple antibiotic on there, whatever you need.
And what happens when you do that? It hurts, right? It hurts bad.
There's something gratifying about dealing with the scab. Being a guy who rode his bicycle through every mountain bike path in my woods for 10 years.
I have a cut on my finger right now that you can't see it with the light, but I was trying to pull the screen out of my dehumidifier to clean it off, and it slipped and just took a huge chunk of skin off. And I've literally been cleaning this wound every day, and I can tell you, it's painful. It hurts. It hurts.
Well, that just goes to verify my theory. Never do anything ever.
Never do anything ever. And but I think you bring up a really good point, though, Brian. Like somehow you brought that all the way to Ukraine and Israel, then all the way back. But I think
they said, sir, you're kind of a little rambly. I call it a weave. It's a wide weave. They call it. They said, sir, you're kind of losing them. Nope, it's for the smart. No wonder the lunatic left doesn't get it. They just don't understand it. You need a sharp intellect, and they're not sharp.
Yeah. Or I don't know. Yeah, this was an observation from Lake Leon. John is like, damn, Brian, breathe.
I rarely get to be a guest. I'm usually juggling chainsaws, and I have lights and screens and things and stuff. And I have to, if you can just wind me up and let me go, it's fun. But yes, I did take you on a circuitous route to Ukraine and back, but we're in the middle of a global war. It's the only reason why I'm okay with the big, beautiful bill spending way too much money. It's because we got 16 years of the Obama doctrine, the infrastructure, the sleeper cells, and the apparatus to censor us, steal our money, and attack us, invade us, overthrow us. And, I told Michelle the other day, we were 5 days away from fundamentally transforming the United States of America. They wanted to fundamentally transform this place, and I don't want it fundamentally transformed. So yeah, we're taking off the Band-Aid, dealing with the actual, oh my God, I didn't realize it was this bad. I'm glad I took the bandaging off. Holy crap, our country is rotting from the inside out.
Yeah, it's all I'm saying is, and I think your rant really broke it down eloquently. I think other countries, Ireland, a lot of countries in Europe, they're too far gone. When they rip the Band-Aid off, they got to cut their arm off, or maybe they're going to die of an infection, right?
Look at England.
Yeah, I think we're still at a point where we can be saved, hopefully. Our currency is shit. That could be a problem, but that's a discussion for another day. Let's pivot now and talk about our previous president, the one and only Joe Biden. Recently, I think this was recent, where this Elton John fundraiser, and they gave Joe Biden a microphone. I don't know who decided to do this, but this is Joe Biden at an Elton John AIDS fundraiser, I believe.
By the way, it's all his fault that we're spending $6 billion in taxpayers' money this month to help AIDS, fight HIV/AIDS. And by the way,
One more time.
It's all his fault that we're spending $6 billion in taxpayer money this month to help fight HIV/AIDS.
The look on Elton John's face when Joe Biden says it's all his fault is one of the most amazing things I've ever seen in my life.
Come on, man. You know the thing. It's all his fault. Come on. Who would ever put a microphone in Joe Biden's hands ever? And is that the actual Joe Biden, or is that just a robot? Is that really Joe Biden that we know? John, is that the real? Do you if you were a betting man, $10 free bet, but you got to pick one or the other on your favorite gambling app. We are so blessed or unblessed with the same Joe Biden we've had since the 80s, or not.
I think I'm a probabilities guy, so I think there is a fair chance being between 20 and 40% that is a different Joe Biden than the 80s and 90s. Or he's a changed Joe Biden, either through drugs or something happened with his brain, or I'm not even sure. But you start getting, it's hard to find, because you can see some differences in the face and the ears and things like that. And I've seen people do comparisons side by side, but strikingly the same mostly. And it's hard to find people that look that much the same. So that's what kind of makes me, not think it's actually two different people.
No, come on, man. You know the thing. I'm still the same Joe I've always been. Only thing changed is my diaper.
Has it been changed?
What a joke. Do you think history is going to look back at Joe Biden as an installed puppet? Do you think it's going to come out that the grand conspiracy reveals everything that many people have been suspecting and you've been not allowed to discuss for 5 years, almost like we're living inside of George Orwell's 1984?
History is going to be interesting going forward, because history is going to be written by artificial intelligence. And artificial intelligence, what AI outputs, has a lot to do with the source that it pulls from. So what's the source? Is the source coming from the mainstream news, the mainstream narrative, your CBS, ABC, CNN? Is it coming from that? Is it coming from, what journalists, what historians? Is it coming from academia? So it's going to matter on the source. It's going to matter who's in charge. Is JD Vance going to win election after Donald Trump? Is he going to serve 2 terms back to back? Or are we going to start to fall apart as a country? Not to say it's at the fault entirely of Donald Trump or JD Vance, but maybe we just got to this point where this country, with the debt, it's such a load, we're just not able to function anymore with a failing currency. I don't know. I don't know what history is going to say, but I will have an opinion on it at the end of it, and that'll be my history.
If I could just add one extra point, I would say that before you coronate JD Vance, I'd like to put another Kennedy into the White House if I get a vote.
I'll be okay with RFK Jr.
I just wanted the people out there to think about that. We don't want to go too far down that road without considering Bobby, right?
Yeah. Thank you, Bobby. And I'd like to thank Bobby Kennedy for coming on the show today. Wasn't invited, just showed up. But
my pleasure.
I do think Bobby's done out of all of the Trump second term, I think Bobby Kennedy's at the top right now for doing the best job. I've been very happy with what he's been able to do with Maha. I would like more action against the vaccine. But I know it's Trump's vaccine. It's Trump's, Operation Warp Speed. So I don't think anything will ever happen with that.
It's sort of Trump's. It's sort of mostly Fauci's. I mean, like they had it.
Trump would have to shift the labeling though to Fauci, which he hasn't done.
Yeah. History is going to be dependent upon who writes it. Who controls the past now controls the future. Who controls the future now controls the past. It's a Rage Against the Machine song. Now testify. It's constantly how we've had to navigate this stuff. I'm hopeful that this is all going to be resolved. As you know, I was there on January 6th, 4 years ago, filming a man on the street documentary and filming the moment that the crowd was pushed back by the stormtroopers there at the Capitol.
And you didn't get arrested. So it's good.
Exactly.
So, wait, are you with the CIA? Wait a minute.
Abort. Pull a Margaret Sanger. No, I mean, I'm a journalist. I'm allowed to go journaling, like I know they weaponized everything. I know they tried to frame Trump for insurrection.
You need to get a t-shirt that says, I'm just journaling. Just journaling.
Something like that. But like, I was just there to document what was happening. I wasn't participating, although I was also there full circle. I don't know if you saw that video, but I was at the DC Correctional Center. They call it the DC Gulag. The day that the J6 prisoners were released over there is the day after Inauguration Day this year in January. And I interviewed Stuart Rhodes again. He's been on my show 2, 3, 4 times. And he had just been released for seditious conspiracy. And I'm hopeful that we're going to be able to see this whole Biden regime for what it was. And I don't consider it to be anything less than an attack on our nation, an attack on all the social media stuff. I mean, that's an attack on my ability to earn a living in the platform, the area where I chose to participate and tried to build an empire, just being silenced and censored by big tech through the Democrats who had weaponized our justice departments against normal people like us. Like, man, I got an axe to grind. I'm not letting this go. I'm not okay with this. And I'm really hopeful. I know it's tough to hope. They sell hopium and copium and trust the plan and all that bullshit. But I'm more of a show me guy. Trust but verify, like Reagan said. Oh, I'll trust it, but I need to verify it first, which means you don't trust anything. Kind of like a Yogi Bearism, if you will. But yeah, I'm hopeful that we're gonna see this entire past 5 years under different perspective, including the bioweapons release. I think it was an intentional lab release from China. Prove me wrong. Prove me otherwise. I don't think we get to say it's an accidental lab leak. They haven't earned the right to claim that was accidental or leaked. I'm going to permanently assume it was an intentional release that could be weaponized for a multitude of reasons. Prove me wrong. So there's a lot of justice I am craving from the past 5 years. And, Bobby Kennedy was a great appointment to sort out the HHS division. I think Tulsi Gabbard's been very good at DNI, Director of National Intelligence. Even Rubio's been solid as Secretary of State. If you don't have to be okay with what he's doing, but he's doing what he's doing fairly well. For the most part, Epstein aside, it feels like a pretty competent administration.
We'll get to Epstein.
Oh, there's so much there, and it's really Trump's lowlight.
We'll get to that in a minute, but let's get through some comments here first. Kenneth says insurrection and diarrhea. Not sure what he's getting at there, but
Well, maybe like incontinence or what's
probably yeah.
Upset stomach, indigestion.
And we got
indigestion, diarrhea. It's the Pepto-Bismol song.
Oh yeah. See, Kenneth, he's just that's
you're right. Yeah, I'm used to it. Kenneth has been a regular. Kenneth, how long have you been a regular? He's been he's not a Patreon guy, but he's a tip jar guy. And so we appreciate that support. But we love having him around because he's always telling jokes and clever wordplay.
Oh, these are moving on me. I was trying to get, we had a compliment from Liberty Lion. I'm not sure if that's one of yours or if we have a Liberty Lion follower here on Lions of Liberty who maybe I haven't seen before, but that was a good Kennedy impression. It was.
Well, thank you very much, Liberty Lion. Can you please tell Brian McWilliams he heard one of my comedy sets and he said that was just terrible. It might have been one where I did 4 minutes straight of Bobby Kennedy, but I think there's some humor there to unpack. Thanks for the kind words.
Does that hurt doing that impression? It looks like it's painful.
Fuck yeah, it does. It's like right here in the diaphragm. I'm wearing my Wild Thing shirt for Cleveland.
Nice.
But it's like at the diaphragm in between the middle ribs. If imagine trying to tighten your abs if you're going to get sucker punched by a buddy. It's sort of living in that space is what it's like. But over the past few months, as director of HHS, I've been able to work on that a little bit, where it's a little less painful and a little healthier for me to do.
Well, we're just glad that you're still able to talk. That's
I like this comment from Kenneth. Destination unknown. Ruby, 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 Rubio.
Oh, yeah.
That's a good one. My band used to cover that song.
Yeah. See, I didn't even pick up on that. Yeah, it's
like good. I said, well, Kenneth, we're simpatico. I'm so used to like where he's going with his jokes. Like, that's not a knock on you, but I know it's like
no, it can be a knock on me.
Twice to get to some of Kenneth's jokes for sure.
Yeah, Brian McWilliams probably would have picked up on that right away. That's in his wheelhouse. But let's talk about Epstein and Trump here. We got a great meme. I love this meme. Sydney Sweeney. Is that Sydney Sweeney? Oh, no. That's Donald Trump in the Sydney Sweeney pose saying, are you still talking about Jeffrey Epstein? Are you?
Are you still talking about Jeffrey freaking Epstein? I mean, it's almost disrespectful. They said, sir, you want to talk about Jeffrey Epstein? Look, John, I don't understand what's going on with Epstein. I don't understand the rollout. My show yesterday, I believe, was Susie Wiles is finally facing some criticism, some much deserved criticism for this whole Epstein mess. Trump going out there, it's a hoax. What's a hoax? What about it is a hoax? Because it sort of seems like
you can't just use the word hoax whenever you don't agree with something. You know, there are hoaxes. There's been a lot of hoaxes. The drinking bleach hoax, the fine people hoax, the Russia hoax. This Jeffrey Epstein thing, not a hoax. Not a hoax.
But we're not, the messaging is wrong. If Trump is going to claim something's a hoax, what part about it is a hoax? Yeah. It's a hoax that anyone had anything to do with his untimely demise. Okay, well, if that's the case, then say that. It's a hoax what the Biden administration left inside of the Epstein documents, because it's all full of fake shit that wasn't there 4 years ago. And they put fake stories in here to try to take my administration down. Say that. It's a hoax that it's a Mossad-Israel honeypot program that goes back to gun running for Iran-Contra in the 1980s with Epstein. That's a hoax. What about it is a hoax? That they had cameras in every room and they were building dossiers on everyone? Say that was the hoax and it's being misreported. He was a guy and he was a creep. And a lot of people knew him and whatever, but it wasn't this whole elaborate blackmail ring like you say that. Fucking tell us. Look, when we say give us the Epstein list, we want the bullet points. We want the brass tacks.
Yeah, there is no list.
Who, what, where, when, why? What is the case about? Or, as they said in Florida, he belongs to intelligence. Back off. So what? We're talking like Chuck Schumer. You have 6 ways a Sunday of the intelligence agencies getting back at you. Chuck Schumer saying it's not really smart what Trump is doing, going back at them. Saying that our nation's been overthrown by a corrupt deep state.
Notice Chuck Schumer silent on the whole Epstein thing. You would think Chuck Schumer would be speaking out like all the Democrats are doing, saying, release the files, release the files. Nothing from Chuck. Nothing.
What would Chuck Schumer's wife think?
Yeah.
Have you seen Chuck Schumer's wife?
I kind of, she's very manly looking, right?
Yeah, that part. That part. Yeah. And look, here's the other side of it. There's so many sides to this story. The frustration of you had one job to keep this dirtbag alive. You either allowed him to off himself or you offed him, or you snuck him out. And he's dishing up all the dirt for 4 years, building a perfect dossier to take down the entire network. And when Bongino says, I've been shaken to my core with this stuff, but trust me, we're working on things I can't talk to you about. He's almost saying, trust the plan. And you're like, I don't want to trust the plan. I want perp walks. I want CNN there at 3 a.m. when you leave Roger Stone out in his pajamas. When you force Bannon to go to jail. Fuck you. Get the perp walks already. And if you're going to be barking and hinting at going after Obama, Clapper, Brennan, Comey, all of them, You shouldn't let them have extra time to sit around and plot a way to go butler you. If you're going to say, I'm coming after you for treason, then motherfucker, go get them. You're letting the most dangerous, violent sociopaths have extra time to plot and strategize a follow-up. I don't like it.
Yeah, they shouldn't.
Get them. You got Trump for nothing. You could go get them for something. Every one of them. Oh, you can't get Obama. That would cause strife. The fuck you think it did when you raided President Trump's home at Mar-a-Lago and messed with his wife's underwear drawer? What do you think was going to happen when you framed him with 94 bullshit charges to keep him out of the race? What did you think was going to happen when you tried to off him at a golf course in Florida and tried to off him at a rally in Butler, Pennsylvania? Oh, no, we better walk on eggshells and hope we don't. To reference what you said earlier about we don't want to upset the Venezuelans who are here in America. What if somebody?
Well, that's not a direct quote. Not a direct quote, Brian. That's not exactly what I said, but yeah.
I know I'm taking a little bit of a liberty there. Pardon the pun with Lions.
We don't want to upset the Venezuelans.
But I mean, it's the same thing. What? Oh no! What if we upset the main architects of sedition, treason, the coup that's been a 9-year ongoing RICO disaster for the deep state? No, go get them. Go get them now. I say this all the time on the TNAM Daily Show. There's that scene in Good Will Hunting where Ben Affleck looks at Will and he's like, my favorite part of I don't do a Boston accent. I got to work on it. It's wicked, not awesome. But he says, my favorite part of the day is when I pull up here and I honk the horn and it's that 40 seconds or so before you come out the door. Because I hope that maybe this day is the day you don't come out that door. You stop wasting your time with a schlub like me and you end up going out there and living up to your potential. I dream of every day when I wake up and eventually I try not to get on my phone immediately, but it's tough when I'm turning off an alarm on my phone. I'm dreaming of the day I get to click on my notifications and all of a sudden could you imagine the text messages and notifications we'd receive if at midnight there was a coordinated global strike and they arrested 5,000 dirtbags and they got them all dead to rights. And this has been a growing RICO conspiracy situation globally. I dream of that day. But in the meantime, I'm not going to trust a plan that may not exist. No, thank you. I'm going to be out there in the front lines covering the news and trying to add some honest perspective to it with occasional couple of chuckles,
You'll be out there on the front lines, just journaling and over-serving the news. That's
journaling and over-serving. Yeah, there's something here. Over-serving.
There's definitely something here. And this has been fun. We're about out of time for today. Thank you to everyone in the chat who's been chiming in here. I haven't done a great job of keeping up. You guys have been so active. But thanks for listening. Thank you.
They're awesome.
Thank you, Brian, for coming on the show, and let the people know on YouTube and Rumble where they can find your shows.
Thank you so much. So we exist in a few different places. The New American Media is on Instagram, Facebook, Truth Social, Rumble, Odyssey, Twitch, Kick, DLive, and YouTube. It's under the New American Media. Hit like, hit subscribe. We're on TNAM and TNAM Chat and Telegram and Signal. On X, we're at American_Media_. Our podcast is the Agree to Disagree show. That also includes the TNAM daily shows. And those are the best places to find us these days. And we appreciate all the support. We're on Patreon, by the way, if anyone wants to sign up and go, yeah, you know what? I'm doing okay. I'd like to, even just a $5 per creation or a $15 a month sponsor, like it all matters. It all adds up.
It does.
Everything we do is a subscription, a monthly fee, and every hour that we're not devoted to earning a living, it's an hour that we need to be paying the bills in other ways. So anybody that's been supporting us on Patreon and the other places, it's a blessing to have cool kids around us. And we're growing and we're happy, having a really good time. And like I said, noon every day, Monday through Saturday, tomorrow excluded. At noon Eastern time, we do the TNAM Daily Show unpacking. Just whatever there is, we dump it on the table and we try to make sense of it.
All right. Awesome, Brian. And you know what? I do hope the Cleveland Browns have a good season this year. Not against the Steelers, but I have a soft spot for Cleveland. Not that I want them to win a Super Bowl or anything, but I do like seeing, my friends, you're a Browns fan. Rico's a lifelong Browns fan. I like seeing success. I want to see your team succeed. So I hope it turns around this year for you, except against the Steelers, of course.
That's very sweet of you to say. That's very nice. And I will say, I'm very angry about what Minka Fitzpatrick did to blow out Nick Chubb's knee the opposite direction. I think it was the most Bush League football play I've ever seen. Worthy of a lifetime suspension to take out one of your league stars.
Well, he's a Miami Dolphin now, so we don't have to worry about
dive at his knee to blow it backwards and ruin Nick Chubb's career in his prime. But I will say I appreciate, and I often call him Schittsburg. I won't do that here. That would just be crass.
I would never say that. Yeah.
I would never say the thing I literally just said. That's such a Trumpism, such a backhanded compliment kind of thing. But no, I always have a soft spot in my heart for the Steelers because of the Rooney family. When Art Modell stole the Cleveland Browns in 1995 and took them over to Baltimore, the owners in the league, they knew it was in their financial best interest to allow it because someday they might want to head for greener pastures and make a boatload of money. The Rooneys are the only team that voted against it. If maybe the Buffalo Bills, it might have been the Steelers and the Bills, because the Bills have been rumored to go across to Toronto or something. But the Rooney family, I think, and the Bills, the only ones that said this is not right what you're doing. We're this far away from each other. We have a storied rivalry. It's not right to take them away. You shouldn't be doing like they were the only ones. So I appreciate the Steeler ownership group of the Rooney family for that point. That's about all I can give you. Plus, I'll root for Will Howard because I drafted him in my Dynasty Football League, and I'm a Buckeye fan defending the national championship, #1 versus #2 to start the college football season at noon. How crazy is that? I'm super excited.
Yeah, that is awesome. And we'll have to get back together because this is going to be an awesome college football season. Maybe I can come on, agree to disagree, talk a little Penn State football. Dive into that.
Well, I mean, maybe. Let me ask you this: how versed are you in the entire college football universe? Are you mainly your team is who? Your Pitt or your
Nittany Lions, Penn State?
Oh, you did just literally say that. Confusing.
I am very well versed in the Big Ten and SEC.
I know you're Penn State. I know you're Penn State because we talked about the Jerry Sandusky, and I've had John on the program. But so you're very versed. You should come on for the unhappy hour. Maybe we could. Let's talk. Let's continue the chat because I do a weekly NFL show that maybe dances into a couple college storylines. But maybe there's room to do a Big Ten show or a Buckeye and a Nittany Lion, whatever the hell that is, could get together and talk football. I always look up what the hell is a Nittany.
It's like a mountain lion, like a mountain lion.
Right, like a mountain,
but more fierce.
What the hell's a Buckeye? I don't know. We got a nut on our head. It's a little weird, but So to be continued. We should talk more football. Maybe something Big Ten related. Maybe something reoccurring. I'm open to. I've got ideas. So you let me know.
All right, man. Let's talk. All right, guys. Well, this is it for today's show. Everyone have a great weekend. Thank you to Brian Engelman for coming on the show. From John Odermatt from the Lions of Liberty, we wish you all an awesome weekend, and we'll see y'all next week.